Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah wa sallallahu ala Rasulullah. We continue reading from Imam Al-Ghazali's Jawahir al-Quran wa Durra, the Jewels of the Quran and Spares. Still reading from Surah Al-Ankabut. And in the last session, we commented, we have read verse 46 of Surah Al-Ankabut, which is about the dialogue with the people of the book. That Muslims should not argue with the people of the book, except in the most beautiful way, gracefully, of course, except those of them who act wrongfully, unjust. And the invitation should be that we believe in what, as Muslims, in what has been revealed to us and what has been revealed to you. We believe in the, of course, the original messages. We celebrate, we believe and we celebrate the prophets. Muslims do name their children after the prophets. Within the same family, you might find Ishmael and Isaac and Jesus. In fact, in our neighborhood, one family, I'm talking about the children, the eldest was my classmate, and his name is Imran, Al Imran. And one of the children, his name is Musa, Moses. And one of them is named Yusuf. They had only one sister whose name is Maryam. I talk about a Muslim family. Another family in the neighborhood, a Muslim family that hails originally from Hebron. The names, talk about. They had Isaac, they had Sarah, they had Leah, I think. So the names, it's an amazing thing. And in terms of the books, when we say we believe in that which has been revealed to you through the prophets, of course, and that which has been revealed to us, and what has been revealed to you, we have 4 proper names of books. Of course, the Qur'an, the Torah, the Zabur. Liberally, you talk about Book of Psalms, despite the fact that we also believe that these books, the previous books, suffered from the vagaries of transmission. Something was altered. And the Gospel in the singular, the Injil. I have been in Turkey at a mosque where the 4 names of the books were written on the 4 corners. You talk about a dome, 4 pillars, and the names of these books were written there beautifully, of course, in Arabic calligraphy. So we do believe, at the same time, we believe that things have changed. Now, the most beautiful fashion. This is, again, one should not be. If you talk about shrewd politicians, interfaith dialogue, when a politician invites members of 2 faiths, 3 faiths, depending on the political circumstances, rest assured that the politician is simply using them as a photo or opportunity, unless there is genuine interest, unless there is unless those in office have the heart and also the intellectual capacity. It's not impossible, but I find it very rare. I should say that there is a genuine interest in interfaith dialogue on the level of the state in Jordan. There are those amongst the Hashemites who are well versed uh, in Islam and other religions. And if we talk about uh, the, uh, the common ground, message, definitely that's something commendable, but also sophisticated. We um, we cannot not have dialogue with the people of the book in terms of Islamic dawah. We have to. It doesn't mean that uh, we do have commonalities, but also we need to explain Islam, uh, uh, the common ground message, the common ground between Islam and other religions, um, emphasizes uh, faith, belief in the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in God, and being good to your neighbor. The golden rule, if you will. This is about building bridges, but also it responds to, uh, in a sense, to one can use it to respond to uh, the Regensburg lecture, which promoted two stereotyped images about Islam. Pope Benedictus the XVI at his alma mater, that Islam is irrational, Islam is violent. This is something that we need to. The Islamic message could be conveyed by Muslim scholars, intellectuals who truly understand the nature of the Islamic worldview, but also the relationship with the other, if you will. Um, this is not only a theoretical framework. In reality, Muslims and Christians, for example, in Jordan, live peacefully. Um, this is not because of it is through and through, if you will. Things go back to the time of the Prophet ﷺ. Things go back to the time of Umar Khattab radiallahu anh, in Jerusalem. So there is that rich heritage. Umar Khattab in Jerusalem assured the Christians in the Pact of Umar the sanctity of their holy places. Of course, if we talk about the sanctity of their holy places, it means also their life. They themselves were protected. So we do have that entrenched in the Quran and the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. The Prophet hosted the Christian delegation of Najran in the mosque in Medina. Interfaith dialogue could be misunderstood. This is not a melting pot. While certain conventions, gatherings might have their own agenda, they do. And the problem also that for the most part, Muslims do not take the initiative. For the most part, there are those who sometimes even for political reasons, because of the state, their country is interested in this. They're promoting a certain agenda, but it's not a melting pot, and it shouldn't. This is why when people speak about the Abrahamic faiths, so they're not Abrahamic. But, they have never been Abrahamic. The religion that was revealed through and through was Islam in the universal sense, in the sense of submitting to the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, believing in Allah, in God, uh, with without attributing any anthropomorphic, no three-dimensional attributes, no time space attributes in the that would run contrary to the Islamic teachings. So Abrahamic, definitely we talk about the story of Abraham. He he is loved, respected. For us, it's a matter of belief. We believe uh, in his prophethood. Also, Suhuf Ibrahim. Remember, there is no proper name there, but he also received a revelation. Uh, Also, one can speak about the political implications of contemporary attempts to bring people together. Are there favorable or not favorable implications? Could be, but it's not a call for a new religion, as some people uh, would like to call it. The proximity of places of worship doesn't mean that people have melting pot and they're going to create a new religion. In fact, the Mosque of Omar in the old city of Jerusalem is literally, it rubs shoulder with the church of the Sepulchre Church. The same thing in uh, in Bethlehem. The Mosque of Omar is across the courtyard from the Church of Nativity. Uh, in Beirut, in Amman, in Jerusalem, in Cairo, you'll find church and mosque. And in fact, in all the cities, you'll find synagogues there. People are a bit apprehensive to speak about the synagogues because of the Zionist project, because of the Israeli occupation. But we don't speak about that. Not that we don't want to address the colonialism, imperialism, the occupation, but when we speak about interfaith, there's a big difference between the same thing. For example, when we engage American or European Christians, doesn't mean that we subscribe or approve what the United States is doing. I have never digested the attacks on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, uh, just simply, or Vietnam, or what happened to the Native Americans. Um, there are many issues that one can speak about. So, when we engage someone in interfaith dialogue, it doesn't mean that we approve his or her country's foreign policies or local, even domestic policies. And this is where sometimes it's important, and sometimes they do raise their voices against certain foreign policies. We have seen this as a um, as a critique of the interfaith enterprise. I would say that usually it is elitist. It does not translate into grassroots. Um, For the most part, it has been done by male. Definitely, if you talk about in a certain representatives would be, if you talk about rabbis, you don't talk about Reform Judaism, you talk about ultra Orthodox. They are going to be definitely men. The Catholic priests. There are sometimes even nuns who engage, but in general, the if it's done on a high level, say the meeting between the Sheikh Al Azhar and the Pope, uh, both are men. I'm not against this. I'm simply stating a fact. Um, it's also like it might sound sometimes like a club. Some people become known and they might show up in different places around the world with the same faces. Interfaith dialogue is usually sporadic. So you might have a meeting today and another meeting might not take place in a year, maybe 6 months, maybe 2 years, and this means that the whatever you'd like to achieve is undermined. It is eclectic in terms of the themes. The story of Abraham, it's typical. It's a beautiful story, Prophet Abraham, peace upon him. I like this story, but I think it's sometimes it is escapism. When you talk about a genocide taking place right now in Gaza, to speak about Prophet Abraham, it's a beautiful story, but that's not the story on the ground. Definitely not. And sometimes when people establish another point, professional institutions for dialogue, oh, it could be commendable, but once you establish yourself, you might, it depends on the country. Some countries are self sufficient, their governments will provide for them, or whoever believes in the mission of the, I'm talking about Muslim or Islamically oriented or Islamically initiated um, institutions for interfaith dialogue. But in other countries, you will be you rely on international assistance, aid to be allocated, and in this way, you will have to abide by their own laws, agenda, if you will. Um let's remember that the Quran also, when it speaks about the relationship between all the tribes, all the nations, whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created. He created them so that they may know each other. This is Surah Al-Hujurat 49:13. لِتَعَارَفُوا, so that you may know each other. لِتَعَارَفُوا became the antithesis of the clash of civilizations, like an Islamic response. Not all Muslims, of course, but in general, very respected, well-known Muslim scholars subscribe to the notion of لِتَعَارَفُوا um, as a critique of Samuel Huntington's The Clash of Civilizations. So these are some of the ideas that one can mention about interfaith dialogue. In our part of the world, we have been we have existed together with Jews and Christians from day one. Um, Europe was at a certain point was monolithic in a sense. Yes, they had a Catholic and Protestant um, friction wars, if you will. uh, ending in the treaty in Osnabrück. But it's still, we talk about Christians. This is after the Crusades to the north, to the Baltic Sea, and further north. There were pagans until a few hundred years ago in Europe. But the idea is that they did not have in many of these places Muslims and Jews. And in fact, if you talk about the only place where Jews thrived in it was in Andalusia. Whether you talk about knowledge, philosophy, science, medicine, they have thrived, and the Muslim world continued to host them after the conquest, after the ethnic cleansing of Spain. So لتعارفوا, so that you may know each other. This as one can speak about the nature, and rather than a clash of civilization, one should understand also the nature of the relationship between these different, or the members of these different religions or different cultures. Uh, the these civilizations do not really exist 100% purely on their own. They always take from other civilizations, they build on that. And when they speak about Western civilization as a construct, Western, you don't say Eastern civilization, you don't say Northern civilization, you don't say Southern civilization. So this is a construct. It's just like the Orient and the East and Edward Said's thought in Orientalism. It's a construct. The East is a construct. الشرق صنع. It has been fabricated. And the same thing about the Western civilization. It's a politically oriented construct. It is meant to exclude, especially Muslims. Not all intellectuals would have this position, but talk about the right wing, the certain type of evangelical Christians. There are those who right now open the door for dialogue with Islam, but with the idea of Western civilization, ignoring the role of the Islamic civilization. Civilizations by de facto, it's cumulative. It's cumulative. You don't exist in a vacuum. In fact, Jean-Jacques Rousseau, in a letter to the Academy of Dijon, in the, of course, the late 18th century, I think, around 1776, but I'm not sure about the date. He acknowledged, not in a very beautiful way, but he acknowledged the role of Muslims in saving in Europe. He said that Europe was in a situation worse than darkness. And he said that help came from the least expected quarters. It came from the stupid Muslim. That's a case, an early case of Islamophobia. He acknowledged that Muslims caused the Enlightenment in Europe, took Europe by the hand from the age of darkness to the Enlightenment. But at the same time, he said what he said, the stupid Muslim. This could still be the position of some, but there are those who would not recognize the role of the Islamic civilization. They try to paint a dark picture. It is still Islamophobic. It does come from in fact, well-known personalities. That's quite unfortunate. And I think probably one day maybe maybe one has to respond directly to these false claims. Just simply in Andalusia, if one visits some of these museums where they talk about open abdominal surgery in the 8th century, just simply you talk about Greek philosophy passing through the Muslim world, and it's not as is. You talk about medicine. Uh, Ibn Sina's works, the canon in medicine continued to be. In fact, Arabic was lingua franca at the time, the language of science. I think sufficed for this particular verse. Uh, we definitely should subscribe to the. It's a religious obligation to speak in the most beautiful fashion for those who do not support uh, injustice in any way against Muslims. There are those who really have seen it, and but we'll continue, inshallah, the discussion in the next session. Until then, subhanakallah wa hamdik, shadu la ilaha illa anta, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.